So I'm joined today by Chris Lukhaup, aka the Shrimp King, and I'm about to interview him with some of your questions that you've asked. So stay tuned and let's see what his answers are.
It's all about shrimps, simply shrimps.
So yeah, you like rock music, metal music?
I was a rock musician for like 20 plus years.
Yeah.
I toured the world with my band. I played in like 50, 60 countries.
Yeah.
Like 2,800 shows. So I have seen the planet. I've been to a lot of places. It was a great time, the 90s, beginning of the 2000s. I enjoyed it. It was different than the aquarium hobby scene. It was much more like exciting, but now I'm a bit older, so I'm calmed down.
So when you first got into rock music and things like that, how old were you and what was the first band that you went to see? Do you remember?
The first band, I think that was Metallica.
Metallica?
In
Nice.
84.
Yeah.
I cannot remember, it was a long time ago. But I was immediately into it, and from Metallica I went to Slayer, and I like, in fact, hard rock, metal, death metal, in fact all of it. In the 90s it was anyway a mix of everything.
For sure,
you have not been a gothic or a hard rocker, there was everything, you know. But meanwhile nowadays it's so split up. That was not the case back then.
I think I was about 14 when I first saw my band, and that was Him. You know Him?
You know that Him played, he opened for us.
No way.
Yes, he opened for us, and I looked at the guy and I saw all the girls coming to him, and I was like, are you kidding me? This guy? But you know what? He went like boom.
Yeah, for sure.
And we were like, what the just happened? You know? Can I say
yeah. So I'm going to move on to some of the questions that you have asked, Chris. And the first one comes from Alchemy in Motion, and they asked, did you choose the shrimping life, or did the shrimping life choose you?
Well, to be honest, I mean, I started with the shrimps end of the 90s, and there was not too much information, and I was so curious about all that. You can say we found each other, because I saw this red and white Caridina, and I was like, I fell in love immediately. So this was many years ago, and I'm still into shrimp, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't know, it's like the first love never dies.
What would you say is it about shrimp? And I've been asked this question before, but what is it about shrimp that you find so fascinating?
They're sexy, come on. I mean, if you look at them, they're not fish. I mean, I think they look very sexy, in my view. That you cannot pet them. That's the only difference between them and the cute dog. But you can look at them, and that's why probably a lot of women are into shrimp, because they're cute. They're cute, exactly. And also, they come in a lot of colors. You know, the color variety is so big, and always comes something new. That is a point that it speaks strongly for shrimp. You have always coming something new.
We've got the shrimp competition upstairs.
Yes, and that keeps it alive. It's like with the koi and with the guppies. It's always comes something new, and I guess that's the thing.
So the next question is from anonymous_boy6. What was the first ever shrimp that you kept?
Holy moly, I think it was the red and white Caridina.
Straight into Caridina?
Yes, Caridina Logimani, because back then they have been the shrimp that opened the market.
Yeah.
So when I saw them, I fell in love with them, and I wanted to have them, because back then there have been not all these varieties. If you look now, we have on this poster, this is the volume 1 of the wild type, and I can have 6 more volumes of wild type, but back then we had these ones and the red and white ones. All of these have not been there. So it had to be those.
I think, well, judging by my logos,
the red and white.
Yeah, exactly. So they're the ones that kind of caught my eye the first. Obviously, I started off with Neo Caridina, just classic wild type cherries, but then these were the shrimp that caught my eye to get me into the shrimp.
Look, most of the people I talk to, like the first generation of shrimp keepers, they fell in love with the red and white. The Neo Caridina, they came years later, because in the beginning we had just the red Neos, and they have not been that colorful. You know, we had all different types, from nearly transparent or colorless to reddish. Now you look at the red and white ones, the difference was really big back then. You had these red and white exciting ones, and you had some less, not that colorful red ones. So of course you go for the red and white.
So next question from Turwi11 Iger. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. What's the worst kind of shrimp to keep? And by that, I'm assuming they mean maybe the hardest one.
Yes, I mean, I would not say the worst. There's some shrimp that are really difficult to keep.
Yeah.
If you look at Sulawesi, they are really hard to keep because they need the parameters. We have, of course, the salt now, which helps a lot because when Sulawesi started in 2007, we had no salt out there, so it was really difficult to breed. For example, the Caridina voltarecae, that's the harlequin shrimp.
Yeah.
I knew just 2 guys able to breed them, and that's it. Nowadays, this has changed, but still, I would say the Sulawesi shrimp are still difficult to keep and breed.
So next question from Gargamel.
The Smurf. Gargamel the Smurf.
Gargamel, that's it, yeah.
Hey Gargamel, are you blue?
Sorry,
No, Gargamel was not blue. That was the wizard or the
yeah,
crazy guy.
Black hat and all that. Yeah, so Gargamel the Smurf says, are you diving for the underwater shots that you take, or is it all aquarium shots? But there is also someone who asked a similar question, so I'll tie them both in, and that's Plants and Fish. They ask, how do you take your underwater photos? What camera? So, are you diving, or what camera?
I'm not diving because the life in freshwater happens in the first 2 or 3 meters,
yeah,
and below it doesn't get that colorful, you know. So I'm like focused on the first 2 or 3 meters. I'm just floating. I'm snorkeling. So very often I'm just standing in the creek, and you just have the imagination that I'm so deep, but it's not. Usually it's knee deep or like 1 or 2 meters, and that's it. I have several cameras, and all of these cameras have a different function. I have the big EOS 5D, which I take the big panorama shots and the filming, because there's a big difference. I have Olympus, which is just to take quick shots to see how underwater looks.
Yeah.
And I have a Sony as well, which is good for close-up shots. I have several cameras, so it always depends on what I want to do. But my best shots are always with the Canon 5D Mark II with a big underwater case. That's my main working tool when I go underwater.
So get saving up.
But in fact, it's all old stuff. I mean, all of my stuff.
Yeah.
If I worked with the guys from Aquarium Co-op, Corey and Joel, and I found out that in fact I work with stuff from the Stone Age. I mean, it's like
compared to what there is
compared
now,
of what they use.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, really?
Someone you might know, Corner Tank Corner, Andrew says hello.
I know it. I know, yeah.
Do you keep shrimps yourself, and what kinds?
Of course I keep shrimp myself. I mean, only the best stuff, because all the breeders send me stuff to photograph.
Yeah, yeah.
So I have in my tanks a lot of cool stuff because they send it to me and it has to stay in my tank because I never ship back. So I have whatever you like, I have it.
Okay. So that kind of goes on to my next question, and it's from Sue Shrimp Breeders from Canada. He says hello as well. What shrimp, oh no, I'll ask that question after this one. So what 3 shrimp would you like to keep the most if you haven't already been sent them?
You know, I'm still in love with the red and white Caridina Logiman, the classic,
yeah,
you know, but the 3-4 banded one. I am not that much of a fan of the high grades. I mean, I like the pure red lines, but if I could choose, it would be the classical red and white, the classical black and white,
yeah,
and probably the fancy, which I like at the moment a lot, is the fancy from Taiwan.
Okay.
The red and white ones. I love red and white, so this is the reason I am into shrimp.
Sexy colours.
Yep.
So then, yeah, the first question, but Nathan from Sue Shrimp Breeders actually asked was, what shrimp have you created, if you've created any strains yourself, which are you most proud of?
I have not created myself any shrimp. Okay. I have named a lot of shrimp.
Yeah. What's the favourite name you've given to a shrimp?
Don't ask me, I even cannot remember. If you look at the names here, I mean, I gave them a lot of names to different type of shrimp, but I don't know. Didn't
I watch or read somewhere that you're on about next sort of metallic-y one you're
yes,
going to call Metallica? Oh.
That one. The metallic, the purple metallic that was bred by my friend Dilvin from Taiwan. But hey, I gave so many names to crayfish and shrimp that I lost the overview. But these are more the common names. Of course, I also describe new species, but mostly crayfish. I have described mostly crayfish, but some crabs as well.
Is there a shrimp named after you?
No, I don't want that.
No,
I will name one after my daughter and a crayfish after my son.
Yep.
But not after me. It's not necessary now.
So I've noticed that you've been doing a lot of work with other YouTubers lately, for instance, Aquarium Co-op and things like that.
That's true. You know what? I learned a lot from Corey from Aquarium Co-op, from Joe Christiansen, Corvus Corax. He has a very strange Corvus obscene or something. You know what? These guys are really professional. I watched them work and I learned a lot from them. They know exactly what they're doing, and I think they do great work. I personally think that Corey from Aquarium Co-op is for me the best YouTuber out there. English speaking, of course, because you want to talk to the world.
But yeah, so you are doing a lot more work with YouTubers lately. So could we see perhaps a YouTuber's trip out to Asia anytime soon in search of shrimps in the wild?
Yes, we will do. I will take YouTubers to some cool places on the planet. So if you're a cool YouTuber out there and you see this, talk to me. Maybe I'll get you along with Corey and Joel and Aqua Pros.
I'll come.
Yeah, you can come as well.
I'll try.
Because I think this medium is very important.
It's good for not necessarily always the next generation, but people who haven't discovered the hobby yet, getting into the hobby.
Yes.
I mean, it's never too late to get into it.
I think the same. So I will focus a lot in the next time on YouTube, on the social media stuff. Because it's a great way to show people places on the planet that have not the possibilities to go there. And I want to take the people out there, you know?
It's always better. I've always been sort of a kinesthetic learner, so I never did well in exams, but I did well in practicals, so I was good in like woodwork and things like that, but when it comes to writing things down, I wasn't that good, so I like to actually go out.
Yes, and it's also important always, I say this since the beginning, look at the habitat of what are you keeping, and then you know what it needs.
So I've got almost a final question, and that is, I've got a book, a magazine, she gave me earlier on. Would you mind signing it?
I can sign it. Will cost you.
It'll cost me. Oh, we'll see. One sec.
It says, keep on shrimping. You can read that, right?
Perfect. That's brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Chris, for your time.
You're welcome. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks for your questions, everyone, as well. I was going to say, if you have any other questions, leave them down below, but I pretty much answered all the questions you asked. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to hit that like button, or
keep on rocking.
That one. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done already. Thanks again for your time.
Cheers, mate.
See you later.
See ya.
It's all about shrimps, simply shrimps. Let's keep things shrimple, simply shrimps. Do 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 do. Yeah!